Yes, we are recording, Eugen. Hello,
Hello, Tessa.
welcome being on my podcast, Sparkle Magic.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
I was just before saying to Eugen, but also for people either watching or listening, that I actually feel super chill having this conversation with Eugen because this is what we always do. But I'm really excited for other people to hear your story and to really listen and feel your wisdom because I just feel so privileged. I'm putting the stakes up high right
I know.
now,
Oh, screw.
yeah, and so I know Eugen from RCS, but I cannot remember actually. So many things are floating through my mind because you are also an example I often use in what you shared with me of your dreams, but I'll come back to that later on. But did you find me first on Facebook or was it the other way round?
I think what happened was Scott Harrison, whom we
Hmm.
both know is a vocal teacher, who also teaches at RCS. He posted. Oh no, he responded to one of my posts on Facebook, and then you did as well.
Ah, and I remember he told me about you once when I met up. You must have been at
At
RCS.
RCS at the time, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, you responded to a post of mine on Facebook that he liked or that he said something about. And then I remember our first meeting was at that cafe behind Spears Lock.
Yes. I remember. And that was so random, right? Because we did message a little bit back and forth, I think. And then
Yes.
I was in Glasgow to meet a friend or something. And I think
Yes.
we then just, figured to meet up during your break, was it even?
Yes, it was doing it was like before class or so sort of thing. And then so we had breakfast. We had like a quick breakfast in the little cafe at the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, that feels as ages ago, right?
that must have been that
Like,
was in 2016, I
yeah.
think. That's like 4.5 years ago.
Wow. And we've been seeing each other journey ever since, which has been incredible.
Oh, it has been
Incredible.
incredible. It has
Yeah,
been incredible.
yeah.
Incredible watching your journey.
Well,
Really, it
similar,
has.
similar. And yeah, and so I let's talk. I suppose start with the question like, who are you? But then the other day I asked Hard, a friend of mine, and he was like, "Yeah, who am I?" It's it's a silly question actually, as in I would love to give you the space to introduce yourself, but then again, I also have like, of course, my cards. I always like to pull a little card. Should I do that first?
Yes, why don't we do that first?
Because I feel when we're in your story, I cannot do this anymore, you see.
Okay.
And sometimes I just like to do this because I feel it might set the tone. And I have like these little cards. You can say stop, I'll pull them out.
So what am I doing? Am I? Oh, all right. Okay.
Stop.
Stop.
Something fell already.
Pick the one that fell.
But you two more. Go on.
Okay. Stop.
Yeah, one more.
Stop.
Yeah, okay. So, okay. So we have when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. Very true,
Very true.
right?
Yes.
Then we have humor. Ah, we have
Ah,
that jumped out.
that did jump out.
Then we have, quite literally so. Then we have strength, and then we have celebration.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Wow,
Celebration.
that's cool. Well, yeah, let's see this as well as a celebration of our friendship. I truly do. But anyway, coming back to the question, Eugen, the stage is yours. Tell people who
So
is.
I will try not to. Oh gosh, this is quite hard to and I because I'm thinking, how do I introduce myself without saying what I do.
I know.
Because so much of the time is, hi, my name is Eu Jin. I'm a, um, 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 so I would say I am someone who is actively trying to figure out and live what my purpose is in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that journey sort of comes together. It starts off with trying to understand, not the what, because it's very easy to go, this is what I do, this is how I do it, but sort of understanding why it is that I feel compelled to go on this journey, because it's not something that is necessarily so common in the world. Um, and I guess for me, it has to do with going, life is much bigger than I am, and I have an opportunity to, I have, clearly I have been given some kind of faculty, some kind of resource, some kind of gifts. And gifts are, for me, just that, right? They are only useful when you give them away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about figuring out why it is that I want to, and how it is then that I can sort of use those gifts, and how I can make an impact on the world, I think is what it is. So that has been sort of a big part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then what I do, which is the easier thing to talk about.
Well, we want to know.
I know. So I'm an actor. I'm an educator, specifically in performing arts, in the specific field in performing arts. I also write and I produce and I create. But I'm quite new to the sort of performing arts industry. So I am going to be turning 48 this year.
Mm.
I know.
You can say so.
I can. I would love to say. I'm turning 48 this year, and I only really moved into the performing arts industry when I was 43 to thereabouts. And so before that, I had spent about 20 years sort of working in the corporate world. And my last job, or the industry that I was in right before I left for the performing arts industry, was what we call global supply chains. So I used to work for this Danish company called Maersk. It's a shipping company. So if you see all these containers or these big boats on the water carrying cargo back and forth, those containers, it says Maersk. So I used to work for one of the companies under that umbrella, and I was the sort of sales consultant for Asia for this company.
Mm.
So my job was partially to go in and provide consultation for large companies like Nike and all these people, how to best optimize their supply chain. And also, I was like an internal sales consultant. I was coaching our salespeople how to win more business, basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And now I do none of that. Now I I act, sing, and I try to dance well as much as I can.
Well, and I suppose your business skills are coming in handy in different ways, because we are both very passionate about kind of elevating consciousness within the performing arts. And I think with your background, not to say how inspirational your shift and change has been, but all of that, yeah, experience has been incredibly
It
insightful.
had it has been, and I remember when I first, one of the very big questions that I had shifting over, and so my transition involved doing a 1 year the master's program at RCS. And during that program, it was a very, very big question in my mind. How much of that knowledge that I've been building up for the last 2 decades is useful. And initially the answer was, oh, I don't know. But it actually soon became quite clear as I sort of went down these rabbit holes of trying to find work and all these sorts of things that I went, oh, the performing arts is a business.
Mm.
It's run like a business. It's run you know, companies want to make profit, people want to make money. And once that, and you know it, but then, you know, once it sort of clicked in your head, clicked in my head, I went, ah, okay. So I kind of, yes, the context is different, obviously, you know, but the ways of engaging people in a business conversation where, you know, where you understand what the person wants and you understand what I want, and you sort of try and bridge the two, um, became a lot sort of easier to manage. So interacting with agents, casting directors, and all sort of all the stakeholders within this sort of eco structure of the performing arts business became a lot easier,
Hmm.
you know, because at the end of the day, it's people,
Yeah.
you know.
And would you say as well that therefore, because if I look from my own journey, I really needed to make a shift of understanding that, yeah, how do I phrase it correctly? Like that my value is not that I'm basically Tessa as a being and I am a performer, but that doesn't define my sort of value. And it's so easy in the performing arts to take it super personal, and even before I would sort of, you know, bottle it down, thinking if you would be a trumpetist, you can sort of blame your trumpet, like, oh, it wasn't well tuned or whatever. But when you kind of sing a flat note, or you don't have your day, or all those kind of matters, is very personally ingrained. And it's just, that is where my curiosity, as you know, comes from, really to decipher all of those parts. But would you say by going through the journey you've been, that it was in that sense easier to sort of see those things as separate things in a way?
It all of those emotions, and I think because the nature of the work that you and I do requires a level of emotional, spiritual investment that maybe an office job doesn't. You know, so it is very, very understandable to take it personally, because you are the product. It's not like this is the product. You know, it's you. So it feels like everything's sort of coming back to you. Um, so, but it has absolutely helped, especially with casting and casting decisions. That, you know, when you look at it, when we look at it simplistically, it's like, you know, I did a good audition, so therefore I should get the job. But it's never as straight. It's never ever as straightforward as that. You know, and we almost subconsciously, you know, when you go into an audition, you know, you do a good job, you almost think like the next day somebody's going to call you and go, "You've got it," you know. Um, but the reality is there are so many more pieces to fit on the puzzle before a cast or before a decision can be made. You know, and I may not know all of those decisions, but I know there are a lot of decisions because I've been in that situation in different industry before, you know. Um, um, so even if I don't understand what the decisions are, I know that it's very complex,
Yeah.
you know. So, for example, if you're being seen for a role, and then maybe you can cover this role and this role and this role, you know, if they choose you, they automatically deselect somebody else. Not because they can't do the job, but simply because you are the right height. Or, you know, and there are a lot of things that have little to do with, I think, what happens in the audition room, you know. And it does help. It actually does help sort of go, right, I have, it helps me sort of, in a healthy way, uncouple from the expectation of a very clear relationship between the effort that I put in and the result that comes out of it, you know. Um, and therefore I take it less personally. I take learning from the journey and what I can accomplish there, instead of waiting for somebody necessarily to always go, "Great job, Eugene. Here's the job." You know.
Yeah, and
So,
something
but it's hard. It is hard. And sorry, go ahead.
no, something I remember when in the early days when I was hosting my workshops and we had a one-on-one session, and then you said something so beautiful where you said this type of work is basically the audition is only the 5 minutes, like it's a moment, kind of, one moment, and well, hopefully it will work out fine, but all the work going prior into those 5 minutes, and not only talking about the song or the dance or whatever, but the actual work, like the layers below. I cannot fully remember the words you said at the time. I don't know if you remember that moment, but for me it resonated so deeply, where the work we both are so passionate about, the self development, the spiritual, the emotional, yeah, your purpose in a way, right, to constantly ask, like, what am I here to do, is so much beyond. And our channel has been performing arts, and for somebody else it's another channel. But I think what is so empowering in your story too is that you pivoted, that you truly followed your heart. And I think in the performing arts in general there is this conception, and I was even saying it to a friend before this, as in, when you are young and when you are at a certain age, there is this preconception, like, oh well, maybe your time is done. But then I always think of your story, because age really doesn't matter if you can just show up in that sort of objective way, because that's always what I sort of get from our connections, where it is sort of not businesslike, because that sounds cold, but you understand what I mean, right? Quite grounded, quite, yeah.
There was, I think I was lucky. Well, not lucky. I mean, I guess my specific sort of life experience also helped sort of making this sort of kind of midlife shift.
Mm,
And I think understanding why I was making the shift instead of just going, and I didn't leave my job, or the company or Merce because I hated it. I actually, if you ask any of my ex-colleagues, I loved my job. I was doing incredibly well. Actually, I was doing incredibly well, to the point when I asked if I could leave. My boss, who's quite high up, and my CEO went, "What? Are you unhappy?" I said, "No, I'm absolutely not. I'm really happy, and I was really lucky to be able to figure out what it was I was good at and why I was good at it in the corporate world, you know, because it can be really, really cutthroat, incredibly cutthroat. But I was really lucky and fortunate, and also I obviously I did the work to put myself in a position where I understood why I was there, and to be in a job that I was good at, and so um, but what I did is I was able to somehow make the connection between why I was good at my job. I was able to uncouple from why I was good at my job and my job, and go, so if I'm good at this, right, other than this job that I'm doing now at USC, is there something else that I could do? You know, which goes back to sort of the why, instead of immediately going to the how and the what of who you are as a person. And underlying all of that was connection, to make a connection, you know, to help people, to be a sort of positive impact on people. And I know that sounds incredibly fluffy, but it kind of has to start there.
mm,
It had to start with the realization that everyone, in whatever circumstance you are, we all share the same, we all share the same feelings. The circumstance is completely different,
mhm.
for everybody, but the feelings are the same. Um, and it's how do you, and that was why I was able to do my job so well, because I was able to connect with people, whether they were customers or whether they were clients, or colleagues, because I connected with them as human beings first, instead of, oh, Tessa, you're the finance manager, and therefore da 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 da, or you're the chief financial officer of this customer, so therefore da 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 da. No,
Mm,
it's you start from that sort of baseline, and when you establish trust at that level,
mhm. Hello. There you
Talking about connections.
are. It was for a second we needed to be
I
uh
know.
well, maybe it was the humor.
It was.
Well, anyway, we kind of ended off at yeah, connections, and that you connect from people, human to human. But I think maybe maybe this was our cue that I need to ask you the question, as in, because we can talk on and on and on,
We
but
can.
what I always love to ask is,
Yes.
what does performance magic mean to you? And well, you know what I understand with performance magic. What does it mean to you? And have you ever experienced it? And would you like to share a moment like that with us?
Yeah, gosh. Um, Performance magic is a moment when and I always come back to this, but it's a moment when you feel connected with the people that you're trying to perform to, in a sense, or connect with, you
Mhm.
know, and it is this very sort of unspoken connection. It may not be something that is audible or visible, like clapping or laughing and things like that, but um, there is just sort of an awareness of a connection at a deeper sort of level,
Mhm.
and you as a performer, you receive it, um, and it's very welcoming,
Mm.
and it's there's almost a sense of gratitude in there,
Mhm.
somewhere in there, um, you know, um, and even if what is being performed is not comfortable necessarily,
Mm.
but there's almost this awareness of I am I'm sort of creating a pathway to connect to you, and I'm meeting you halfway,
Mm.
and you feel people sort of meet you halfway in the way that they can, and you never really know who it is, but yeah, so that oh gosh, have I had moments more recently? Yes, I would say. I think because I'm on this journey of I'm so technical in my practice that is often a lot that often dominates a lot of the work that I do in preparation. And I've gotten slowly slowly better and better at in the moment of performance to just trust that all the work has been done
Mm.
and to just be present in the moment.
Mhm.
Um, um, I recently sort of felt it. I was doing some self tapes for a class that I had signed up for, um, and I remember, and because it was a self tape, I got to do a couple of takes, and I got to choose the best one. But I remember being so in the moment that and it was, I I remember being so in the moment that when I went and reviewed some of the tapes, because I don't review them on the spot, I just film a bunch. And then that when I went to review them, about half of them, because I was such in the moment that I was like half of my body was out of frame.
No, yeah.
It's like, oh, darn it, that was a really good take too. Um, uh,
Yeah.
um, um, so yes, so I've been lucky, and then the aim is to, and I've been also lucky, so incredibly lucky to have been on stage with people like Kelly O'Hara and Ken Watanabe and Ruthie Ann Miles. And the thing about them is, I mean, they are bona fide superstars. The thing about them is they are able to create this world on stage.
Mhm.
As an audience member, when we watch them perform, it's already amazing. It's even more amazing to be on stage with them, because they don't just envelop themselves in the world that they create, but they have this ability to envelop the entire stage and everyone that's on it
Mhm.
into their world, and you sort of get sucked into it. And the only thing that you can do is to raise your level to try and meet them where they are in this world. And trying to do that means sinking deeper into the world. Yes, being aware that we're on stage and there's props and there's lights and there's things, and don't fall off the stage into the pit. But
Mm,
it's just this ability to just move into this world and be
mm,
completely in the moment and in the world.
mm.
And that has been such an experience.
Wow, yeah.
Just such an experience. I was just like, whoa.
And I can only imagine that, if we would make an animation or a cartoon, how a performer like that, besides obviously they have a name for a reason, as in they've been in so many productions. If we take, for instance, Kelly O'Hara, like if we would see her on stage, that she has like all this sparkling around her, right?
She's just going, yes, all this, and then if you're on stage with her, you just get blasted with all of these sparkles, and you find yourself, and you're like, you have to show up, you have to meet her there because she is meeting you there,
Mm.
you know. Um, it and and then the analyst in me goes, right, so what are they doing? Then I will begin to watch them.
Yeah.
I would really begin to sort of watch them, not just how they are on stage, but when we do warm-ups on stage and sort of things like that. And whatever little I get to watch of them, of them rehearsing their craft, then
Mhm.
I'm watching them, just observing and going, "Oh, what do they do? How do they prepare? As much as you can, without actually going up to them and sort of asking them. Um,
What did you get? What did you get from it? Was there one unified thing that you think, that was a sort of comparable in all of them, in essence, not as in the factual facts, but
yeah, I, the one thing that I noticed that was so strong with all of them was they are so generous
hmm,
as human beings. You know, I mean, these people are so well known,
hmm,
so well known, and they carry the show. They carry the show. Their names are on the billboards, and they carry the show. But the generosity that they have in person, um, and a really clear awareness of the energy that they bring,
mm-hmm,
you know, as human beings, not as actors at all. You know, um, they sit, the three of them, actually all of them, the Annas and the Kings, they sit so comfortably in their own skin,
hmm,
you know, that they know who they are,
mm-hmm,
they know what they can do. And so therefore it's not about not trying, because it is a lot of work. It
hmm,
is it's a lot of work. And it's very draining for them because they carry the show. Like the King and I think Anna and the King mainly carry the show. Um, but they have such a deep awareness of themselves
hmm.
and what they bring and what they can do, that part of it has taken a lot of work, but it looks on the outside to a casual observer effortless.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember that is always, and a guest we might hear from in the next coming weeks, but Nadine George, we both love. But what she always would say, that is the work. I remember when I would work with her one on one, that I would come round and she was like, "Wow, you've been really doing the work," and I was like, I have not done anything in a sense of the voice warm ups,
Yes.
there's all these things. She said, "No, no, no, that's not what it's about. It's about the work." And what I'm hearing through your story too is that I heard this once in an interview with an actress I admire, but she said, "I need to know myself so well in order to play other people, in order to, well, it's kind of morphing." And yeah, well, I need to shift into a next question because I can talk on this endlessly, but I want to know about your story, Eugen. So tell me, um are you no, do what does it mean to live the story you want to tell? What comes up for you? And are you living it?
I I I think I hope I am.
Well, you know.
I I am. I definitely feel that I am, and it's I feel incredibly unfortunate. Fortunate, sorry. I feel incredibly fortunate to know why it is that I do or engage in activities, and to have the resources to do that, to do them. Um, um, what is what was the question? Am I living the story I want to tell? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. In a nutshell, yes, I am. I mean, if I look at it from
Maybe
from
we lost you for a second.
we're taking turns.
Oh my god! This is horrible.
It's fine.
Humor of the universe. Well, luckily it's all recording, so I mean we just pick up where we left off.
Just
And
edit.
we are so in the moment. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And when I think I surrendered, I surrender more. Just continuing. So, yes.
Living the story I want to tell.
Yeah.
Right. Um, yes, I am. I absolutely am. Um, and I realize I have been for a lot of my life, like stubbornly so. And it's just been about so much of that journey has been about getting clarity into what is the story that I want, what is the conversation that I want to be a part of. And oh no, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
here.
Okay. uh,
What is the story you said?
um, and the story is about reminding us all that we are more alike than we are different.
Mm.
There's so much division and there's so much fear in the world. And it's really easy to sort of take a stand and fight and get up and fight. Yes, which sometimes is necessary. Um, but I feel like doing the work to remind people that we are all more alike is showing an alternative way to
Mm.
look at the world. So we may look different and we may sound different or speak different languages or come from different countries and love different people, but fundamentally we are all the same.
Mm.
And before we are any of sort of the social constructs that society has given us, you
Mhm.
know, we are first and foremost, we are humans first,
Yeah.
you know, and in sort of society's desire to structure things and make things make sense and help society move forward, we've created these structures and these compartments for people to sit in, which is fine because that's necessary. But then it's become such a big part of our identities that we forget,
Mm.
um, that we are first and foremost human beings. So
Mhm.
somebody that's laughing for joy, in a third world country, that joy is the same as somebody who is, laughing for joy because they just won the lottery, for example.
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know and same with grief and same with all these basic human emotions. And so the story, and so in everything that I do in the work as an actor, or in the work as a writer and as a creator and as a producer, and putting out work and choosing what work it is, choosing what story I want to write about, or in teaching, for example, um, all the work is connected to, it goes back to having a conversation about connectedness
Mhm. Mhm.
and having people remind us that, you know, we are all not that different.
Mm.
As a student in a performing arts institution like RCS, yes, you may be studying opera or the violin or musical theater or acting, right? But the doubts and the fears and the feeling unprepared and the fear is the same.
Yeah.
And it's not about going, I have all my stuff together, because nobody has their stuff together.
No. No.
But it is about having conversation like that. and then going, right, so that's where we are. How do we move forward? As
Mm.
opposed to trying to sort of pretend that everything is okay and I'm just going to keep going.
And what
So
I love as well, what you said in what we were talking on the other day, but how when you teach, you don't fix anything. How what is already perfect, and basically just unlocking, opening up even more.
there is, yeah, I mean, there is this question that I was asked. This is probably at least 10 years ago. I was asked by somebody who was mentoring me when I was really struggling was, if you had no one to be, nothing to fix, and nothing to prove, where would you spend your life's energy?
Mm.
If you had no one to be, meaning, we are all partners, sons, daughters, mothers, brothers, all of these roles that we play in society, which are, but if you took that all away, because we all have responsibilities to them, if you took that away, if you had nothing to fix, a lot of us grow up thinking that there's something wrong with
Mm.
us, that,
Mm.
that somehow something needs, I need to work on something, I need to fix something. And linked to that is nothing to prove.
Mm.
Society sets us up to compete all the time.
Mm.
Can I sing higher than Tessa? Can I kick higher than Tessa? Can I do more shows? Can I get more jobs than Tessa? Can I earn more money than Tessa? Blah blah blah. But there's, if you had nothing to prove to anybody, if you had nothing to fix and you had no one to be, where is it that you would spend your time? And
Yeah.
that's such a difficult question to answer, because we are societal creatures,
Yeah.
you know.
and,
Um,
and even thinking right now, what comes up for me is that we obviously have our baggage and our backpack in order to learn our tools, etc. But how would life be different when we, instead of thinking, like you say, thinking that we are wrong or thinking that we need to fix in order to move through or be more worthy? I think that's a big one, right? To be more worthy of things, and so you deserve more. I work on this myself too, and also with my coach, but how just on a base level you have a birthright to enjoy, to love, to be loved, because simply by being here and looking at your backpack, instead of the fixing, like your gifts you can give to people. Because why, that is also a human trait, isn't it? Why do we always look for things in order to, well, to fix?
yes,
I mean, growing or fixing is a different thing actually when you look at it through that mindset.
and the thing is, we could still end up making the exact same decisions, that we have made in life. But the point is, the decisions have come from a conscious
Hmm.
and deep awareness of purpose, as opposed to, this is what my parents told me to do, or this is what society has taught me to do. I'm just kind of gonna doing it, And I've had so many conversations with people, who know me, from the corporate world, who we did all the things that, we were told to do. We studied hard, we got good jobs, we partners, got the flat, got the house, got the car, got the thing. And then a lot of people get to that point and go, and because society says, if I do all these things, I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I've had so many conversations with people who go, but I'm not happy, and I don't know why, or what's wrong. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not working hard enough? Am I not, um, but I've been fortunate enough to be trusted with people's journeys as well, and to really think and to explore what is important to them. Why do they do these things? And to strip, or to take that question and to sort of live in it for 6 months
Mm-hmm.
and explore and dig and peel and peel and peel and peel. And at the end of the day, people can make the same decisions,
Mm-hmm.
but it comes from a place of conscious choice and awareness,
Mm-hmm.
which is the most wonderful thing to see. When you can feel that energy when somebody is sort of living the life that they own,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, and the awareness that all of these things come in the tiny, minute choices that we make every day.
Yeah.
This isn't some big momentous decision that, the straw that broke the camel's back or anything like that. No, these are just things that, like, these things take time. These thoughts, these explorations take time, and it takes time to build momentum. It takes time to make decisions every day that forward that understanding. Um,
And I think that is, I really hear like two very big things coming up for me. And one is a great segue into my next question. But first, when I go to do that is, that is something I always get from you, where I think it's so beautiful how, yeah, you really take your time. And how I remember previous lockdowns where you also said, I'm going to consciously take this time to really go inwards and to feel and do. And that is always super inspirational for me, because even when you said just now, to live with a question like that for half a year, I'm like, oh, that's such a good idea, because I'm like, okay, boom, yeah, I need to have the answer right now. So that is really, I'm going to take that on for sure. When you are talking about people and having, in a sense, an empty life, for me, I would translate that in a sense, it's beautiful, and but what is the meaning? Like, it could be happy, but joyful is a different thing, and true meaning. And well, my song Guts, and the original Dutch one is exactly
mm,
that story.
mm.
And so my question really is, what does guts mean to you? And have you gone through a moment through gut sphere? Because often that is like, truly listen to your heart is super, super, super scary. Yeah, what was that situation in a sense, and what came out afterwards?
Yeah. Um, I think having guts is, so I'm a very organized person. You probably know that. I plan and I plan and I plan. I'm this constant planner. But at the end of the day, all of that planning, doesn't replace the doing or taking that sort of final step out onto stage, for example.
Mm.
You know, um, um, so I think having guts is showing up even though you are terrified.
Yeah.
It's trusting in that dream, or trusting in that process, and trusting in everything that you've done, and having a dream, and sort of daring to have a dream with no guaranteed results.
Mm.
No guaranteed results. And to be able to shift to want to sort of achieve that, and sort of put everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, being practical about it. It's not about just going, I'm going to run off and, no, I live so much in the world of practicality as you do, that there are things that have to be in place for me to have the guts to sort of, do the things that I do. Um, um, but it is about that. It's about daring to dream
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
big, 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 like big.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. What oh god, the example. I My Dutch brain is still sometimes activated, but the example that I use to other people, you already know what's coming up, right? Because I always say in my workshops or classes or whatever, I always ask people to share afterwards, because we can only see so much through our own eyes, but when we connect, like you say, and yeah, from that dream perspective or from that heart space, um all of a sudden you think, whoa. And so I remember that this is in our early days messaging over Facebook, and I must have asked, like, what are your dreams? And then you said, as far as how I have it in my mind, that you want to write and produce a play, a show for the Pope in the Vatican. And when I heard that, I thought, whoa, that's cool. Oh my god, I've never thought of that before. And that's just incredible. And so maybe this is a good segue into, I'm quite aware that that we haven't heard a guts moment in a sense, but I
Mm.
think it's woven through. But what is the story you want to tell?
In that show?
No,
Oh
in
no, oh in J
life, but maybe the Pope's show is part. Well, it's not a Pope show, but I mean,
no.
part of it, maybe.
I mean that show actually encapsulates the everything I want to say actually quite well. And so without pitching it, I'm not pitching it.
Don't mind. You can already have a couple of fans.
So I'm writing a story. I'm writing a play. It's a play now. I've been working on it probably since 2014.
Mm,
Um, and it's a play about the um, the human experience of Mary, the mother of Jesus.
mm,
So all of these very familiar stories that we know, whether you're Christian or not, like, generally people sort of know Christianity and sort of those stories around Mary and Joseph and, all that sort of stuff, but taking very, very familiar stories and shining a very human light on what Mary's experience was
mm,
of it as somebody who was human, who was raising this child
mhm,
to do what she was told was these, and what she believed was these amazing things. And you know as a parent, you what do most parents want? Most parents want to spend time with their children. Most parents want to be able to protect their children, and most parents never want to have to bury their children.
mm,
But she has to deal with all three things. She can't spend as much time because she has to share him with the world, because he's this savior of the world. She can't protect him from all the people that want to hurt him, and she has to watch him die.
mm,
And yes, if you take away the spirituality of it, if you ask any parent to stand there and watch somebody kill their child in front of them,
mm,
you know, um, and so I really feel called to tell this story and to link it sort of back to the story that I want to tell. Mary, the character of Mary, the figure of Mary is a very polarizing character within the Christian Catholic community, you know. But what I want to tell is the human story.
mhm,
And I hope that audiences walk away with this, instead of going, oh, these Catholics are just, blah, 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 but that this was just a story about a woman and a mother, and that's it. And then, it's not trying to convert people. No, not at all. It's just about going, this is the story, and guess what? Even if we are not mothers or parents, we are children. We're, of parents,
mhm,
and to some extent, all of our stories are woven somewhere in there,
mhm, mhm,
and the ability and the potential opportunity for people to connect through that
mm,
is what I want to do, which is why I'm dreaming super big, because you know um
mhm,
so that's how it's sort of that's become the sort of the what,
mhm, mhm,
and how it's sort of gonna, well, not the how yet, but the what it's gonna be, and the how. But then this all came from sort of being really sort of deeply rooted in, I want to tell a human story,
mhm,
you know, and hers, don't ask me why, but I can't escape the story. I keep coming back to it. And so I just went, okay, all right, I will work on it, but that's, that is something that I feel so passionate about,
mm,
and I actually, it's funny, I've been, the last 2-3 weeks, I've gone back to the script. So I've
mm,
been working on it sort of diligently over the last 6-7 years. Um, but yeah, it's been, and it's very healing for me personally
mm,
to write, because I everything goes back to, yes, you have to throw in all the dramaturgy and all of the craft of writing, and all that sort of stuff when you visualize it on stage and all of that sort of stuff. But it always goes back to, what is the human experience? What am I trying to capture? What am I trying to say? What emotion is being felt? And what's the best way then to sort of present that that story, so yeah.
Wow. I remember when you told me, I was like, I want to audition. And I feel that again. I want to audition. Maybe I'm too young. But wow. Wow, 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 wow. And I mean, I don't know, somewhere I feel complete in a sense. I have tons of questions, but I feel it's beautiful. Like we had such a beautiful conversation. And let's go back for a second to the cards in the beginning, and maybe
Yes.
want to make a little reflection on it. But when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. Humor, strength, and celebration. Um, yeah.
When I think I surrender, I've surrendered more. This is and to sort of, and I'm Catholic, so I'm Roman Catholic, and so much of this journey over the last 5 years into the world of performing arts and sort of creating this different world has been about surrender at a level that I thought I knew,
Mm.
and then the guy upstairs went, no, you have no idea what it means to have to let go of control and to let go of structure and to let go of certainty, at a level that I still feel like, okay, I can still kind of function and sort of work through. And so it is constantly a journey for
Mm-hmm.
me. And I think one that I'm learning slowly to live easier with,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's a humor.
Humor, strength, and celebration.
I mean, I'm I'm such a serious person when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, so you liked, maybe that's why the Zoom connection thought I'll just
Yeah, there we go. It's getting way too serious.
yeah.
But there is this, and I really do. I really have discovered this in the last couple of years, 5 years actually. Um, that there is a side of me that is really quirky and really um, curious,
Mm.
you know, um, um, and loves to have fun, like my inner child, if you will, you know. And so much, I'm in my mid to late 40s, right? You're like, what inner child? No, you know. but but the ability to laugh at yourself, the ability to laugh, yeah, laugh at myself and sort of take things and really, oh yes, I know I'm a serious, grumpy person sometimes, but to be just go, you know, sort of laugh, I think has been sort of been a really good sort of counterpoint,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that allows me to relax into it a little bit more. I know that yes, I'm super serious and super focused and all of that sort of stuff, but um, there is a levity and there's a lightness
Mm-hmm.
that I know I can bring to my life as well,
Mm.
which is wonderful. And celebration, absolutely. This conversation is just like, I wish, and this is what I hope, that people have more and more of these conversations
Me too.
just to explore. It's not about getting answers. It's so not about getting answers. It's just about talking it out.
Okay.
Yes, and it's about connecting because somebody has always something to say that can help us and vice versa, and these things aren't easy to talk about because a lot of times by the time people get to the point of having that conversation, they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and that's 2 or 3 or 4 decades worth of life and fixed ways of thinking, that have to be sort of challenged in a gentle way,
Yeah.
and so the more that people have conversations like this about what's going on inside,
Mm.
you know, I feel the better, you
Mm.
know, because that's really the only way that I found to sort of discover that why and that purpose
Mm.
and And it's only after you discover the why and your purpose and what you want your life to be about and where you want to spend your time, then you can go, right, so I'm gonna, because I know this, then I can go and try and explore that and that and that and that and that, you
Yeah.
know, rather than going, I just want to be an actor. Yeah, but
Mm,
why?
mm.
Or,
Yeah, and to simply, I think what I've been recently having quite lots of conversations about is that our world is very overwhelming because there are so many stimuli. Like there is so much to choose from, and there is such a high pressure in order to sort of know all these questions. But then again, I think simply by experiencing and having conversations like this, like you say, I think there is such an authenticity, and you are so beautifully humble and open. And I wish for everyone. Well, I know everyone can speak this way because if people know me, I that's my secret mission to unlock people's hearts. But I mean that is just where, well, that sparkle of magic. I'm just instantly bored. This is like a sort of lying detector I have.
mm,
People know this, but I do. And especially if I work, I can get so bored easily. Like I don't even hear it. I've been to seminars and I literally heard nothing because this person was talking from its head and not from the heart.
yeah.
And it's funny because I'm laughing at myself, but I mean just from the heart, like yeah, that's it.
And but that is your work, and it's so amazing to see the impact that you have, to have people sort of reconnect, and it is about reconnecting because we are all connected to it, and but then the world has taught us, to be, and especially for performers of any sort of degree, you kind of need to have access to that,
Mm,
to be able to to tell the story of the character
mm,
authentically,
right.
you
Yeah.
know, and to go to where the character lives,
Hmm.
instead of sort of brushing the surface. So unlocking and reconnecting people to, yeah, that's like your superpower.
Yes, my superpower. I
Oh my god.
do. Oh, darling Eugen, what are you taking on from this conversation?
I
Uh,
am I am taking on gratitude, and I think being grateful for somebody like you in my life who constantly, you know, and it can be like a Facebook post, or it can be an Insta post, that when I see, or when we have a conversation, when we meet up for coffee, it's I know that it reminds me that I have to stay on the course that I am,
mm,
you know,
mm,
that I hold what you are doing and I hold where you operate on at such a high level,
mm,
you know, um, and to be able to constantly operate at that high level of awareness,
mm.
is something that I'm always going, even if it is sort of feeling shit, and there are many, many days, like, how do you feel shit at a high level?
It's quite hard.
Oh, it's really hard. It's really hard. It's really hard.
But then again, we need to let ourselves drop in order to be even, it's as simple as when we extend our vocal cord or our range, the higher
Yes,
we can go, the higher. Similar with the being.
absolutely. So you are a constant reminder for me,
Mm,
constant,
thank you.
in a really good way.
Thank you so much. That's very, very sweet and special, and yeah, moves me, it touches me. Thank you. And for me, well, I suppose in a similar way that just earlier on you said allowing yourself to dream, and I'm obviously always the biggest fan of letting people dream. And I have dreams myself too, but as you know, recently I sort of revamped my dreams and to really listen to them and not pressurize them in time because they will come in the right time, but just yeah, I admire your, well, it's not even belief because it's even beyond belief. It's just a knowing what you do and how you go about your work. And it's kind of what you said earlier. There is no proving in it, no justification. It's enjoying and exploring and experiencing and very consciously. And yeah, that's very beautiful. And I certainly will take that on myself. Um,
Because we can be doing anything, you can be having a conversation like this, you can be doing really practical work,
hmm,
you know. Um, but it is about staying connected to that source,
mhm, mhm,
and
mhm.
that's it, and that's it, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
It's figuring out what that source is, why it is that you have that source, and then directing everything towards that,
Mm.
you know. Um, yeah.
Where can everyone find you if they're so curious? They think, "Oh, who is this person?" Where if they want to know, I don't know if you have, I don't even know if you have videos on YouTube or songs or, well, Instagram or whatever. What?
I have well, I have a website actually. It's www.eujinhwang.com. I'm also on Instagram.
Mhm.
I'm terrible at Instagram, and I'm on Facebook as well. uh,
Yeah, and
but
I
yeah,
know that if people are curious and they have a question, are they welcome to have a
absolutely. I mean, connectedness is exactly that. It's about meeting people in wherever they are in life,
question?
you know, uh, and having conversations and
Yeah.
connecting. Absolutely. So you can slide into my DMs.
Oh, you said that sounds so uh, like polished or
I'm using, I know, that's so practiced. No,
yes.
look for me on Instagram, connect, and
Or
absolutely, or
message me or whatever. I'll get you to Eugen. Yes.
absolutely.
Ah, thank you so much for this lovely time.
My pleasure.
I'm going to listen back with such a bright smile.
I
Sure. Yeah.
cannot wait. I cannot
Yeah.
wait to see this.
Yes. Similar. Same. Same. Okay. Mwah. Lots and lots of
Lots
love.
of love. Okay, bye bye.